The soldiers led Jesus away into the palace, that is the praetorium, and called together the whole company of soldiers. They put a purple robe on him and twisted together a crown of thorns and set it on him. And they began to call out to him, "Hail, King of the Jews!" Again and again they struck him on the head with a staff and spit on him. Falling on their knees, they paid homage to him. And when they had mocked him, they took off the purple robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him out to crucify him. So this is the Antonia. A lot of the places we're unsure at what happened in the Bible, but here we're pretty crystal clear. You know it as the praetorium. It's where the temple guard or the praetorium guard would watch over Jerusalem, especially during the Passover. See, Pilate and Herod didn't even live in Jerusalem. But when it came to the Passover, they would come from their palaces in Caesarea. They would come down here because their entire job was to keep the Jewish people from revolting. During all of Roman occupation, the Jews revolted 6 times, and 5 of the 6 times happened during the Passover. 250,000 Jews would descend or ascend on the city of Jerusalem, and their job was just to keep the peace. But Rome, who the Gospel of Mark is written to, tells us about the praetorium. And we find out from archaeology, or we find out the praetorium was built just a little bit higher than the highest part of the temple. It was Rome's way of letting people know, just in case they forgot, who was really in charge. That there was not a single spot in the world that the Jewish people could go to get away from the reminder that the Roman people really were running the show. And here, Jesus has gone into the city as king, and they remind the world again just how powerful they are. But they don't know what to do with him. See, the question that Mark is asking all throughout this is, who do people say that I am? And it's here that Herod and Pilate are so confused about who Jesus is or what to do with him that they pass him back and forth until finally the people give them the answer that they want. If you're looking for somebody to take the blame, then give it to us. And that's exactly what they want, because they really don't care about Jesus. What they care about is the Pax Romana. What they care about is keeping the peace, and the people have given them a way to be able to do that. So Jesus has been passed around from Caiaphas to Herod to Pilate, and finally they discover a way that they can put him to death. They find somebody who's willing to take the blame, and it's from here that they lead Jesus off to crucify him. Jesus, in this part of the Gospel of Mark, actually asked the question to Judas, "Am I leading a rebellion that you would come with soldiers and spears?" He asked that question in a way to say, like, when have you ever seen me violent, Judas? When have you ever seen me play the game of Rome? But I'd like to ask it a different way. In this very place, in a place where Rome enforced the Pax Romana, and it worked, in this very place, I'd like to ask the question to our churches, to our church, are we leading a rebellion? I don't know about you, but Christians seem to spend their money the same way that their non-Christian friends do. We tend to view our marriages the same way that non-Christian friends do. We tend to view the way we think about power, the way we think about our careers, the way our non-Christian friends do. And this question that Jesus asked his disciple is echoing in my ear, especially here. Am I leading a rebellion? Do I belong to one? Have we stopped rebelling against the status quo? Have we now become people who have learned to endorse it?